Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Paramount number 5510 aluminum cylinder guard. This is a cylinder guard. It is both made of aluminum and is in an aluminum finish. Appears to have a lacquer over it, which it's definitely aluminum, but it does have a lacquer over it. And this is a cylinder guard, and this is a piece of equipment that you're going to use to help deter manipulation of a cylinder installed on your door. Probably going to give you the ability to very severely restrict access to the head of the cylinder. Nothing threads into here, even though the photograph from the manufacturer kind of leads you to believe that it might be, but it's not. The important part about this is that this block of aluminum, when you have riveted it to the door face, is going to really deter any sort of attempted manipulation at the head of the cylinder, because if you can get a tool onto the head of the cylinder, you've got a chance, a real easy chance in fact, to be able to manipulate that lock in order to get the door open. And cylinder guards, cylinder trim rings, all of these items conspire to try to serve the purpose of preventing people from attacking the head of the cylinder. I happen to have a cylinder in my hand, and it's an unusual cylinder in the sense that you really won't bump into it. This happens to be a Brahma cylinder. The name Brahma, Joseph Brahma, in fact, he is an important inventor, and I'm not going to deter very much into the world of Brahma cylinders. I just happen to have one here on a project that I'm working on. Joseph Brahma was an Englishman who had the world's first patent of a locking mechanism in 1784. It was the first lock incorporating a cylinder whose key did not contact the lock bolt directly. Bit or barrel keys, think of that as skeleton keys. When those keys went into the lock case, the bits on the key would literally make contact with the bolt mechanism, or manipulating pieces to a position where the bolt mechanism is going to work, but really contacting the bolt mechanism. Brahma's cylinder effects change on a tailpiece or a cam, which then modifies bolt works within the lock body itself. I thought it would be neat to show you a Brahma cylinder. It's a specialty type of cylinder. Anyway, the point of the matter is this is not a video on Brahma. When that cylinder goes in, well, it's a bad example, because the Brahma cylinder's got a housing on it. It's making it too large, this housing. So let's pause the video. You know what? I've got an American cylinder here. Whoopsie. Here's a Seagull cylinder. This is a cylinder from the inside of a Seagull cylinder lock. That's going to show you better. Fail. That's a Brahma cylinder. Anyway, so when your rim or your mortise cylinder is going to go inside of here, you really have reduced, you've all but eliminated the possibility of someone getting a tool on the head of that cylinder. Now I'm going to grab a proper mortise cylinder to demonstrate further. Okay, so I have one for my friends at Caba Ilco, and this would be a very accurate demonstration of probably what I'd like to emphasize. That is an American, just typical mortise cylinder. It is going to, obviously you're going to rivet this to the face of the door. I suppose you could through bolt it. I suppose you can do anything you want. This has got to get threaded into the lock body itself, and the plate itself kind of serves to just keep people from tampering with the head of the cylinder. If you get a wrench on the head of that cylinder, you're easily going to get that lock broken. What I might consider doing, if your hole is drilled correctly, is I would get this positioned onto the door, get it riveted on. If I'm doing an aluminum storefront door, I might work that into the hole. I might then buy the mortise cylinder ring nut, the 2315-2. I might thread that onto the back of the cylinder through the hole in the edge of the lock, through the lock body preparation in the edge of the mortise cylinder. And I might get that threaded down to a point where I could then start to rotate this, turn that into my lock body. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to be turning this cylinder in further, rotating this further, to the point where I could then not only get the cylinder in the lock body to where I wanted it, but I could bring my cylinder nut up to the back side of this as well to just help provide a more secure installation, where the cylinder is not only going to be locked into the lock body through the groove in the edge of the cylinder, but I've now secured the cylinder down to the back of the prep. You're obviously going to need to prep your hole for the cylinder really good, because the outside of that cash nut box or that mortise cylinder ring is not that great. Now the ring itself is not, the mortise cylinder ring nut is not included with the 5510. They're marketed together though, however, in the catalog, and the thought occurred to me that, you know what, I probably would order one of those and I would probably install it that way, because I'm really not necessarily helping keep my cylinder in place any better with this 5510 cylinder guard, but it would afford me the ability to attach the cylinder to this. I suppose you could get this all installed, cylinder in, nut down and tight, and then I suppose you could rotate all that onto the door. I wouldn't want to scratch the face of the door, because we both know that's going to happen. So I probably wouldn't do that. But anyway, dimensional properties of the 5510, let's go over it. And I hope you did enjoy the, you know what, I feel like I steered you wrong on the Brahma cylinder. Here's what the tip of a Brahma key looks like. Kind of a tubular key is what it reminds me. It reminds me of a barrel key with being able to take a shaft in it, except that it doesn't have bits. It does have a nub like an ace key would or a tubular key would, but it's got these slots cut in it. And you'll notice that the slots have different depths. Well, that's related to the tumblers that are then in there. And as I insert my Brahma key into my cylinder, and it's spring-loaded, and I push it in, I can then rotate that. So really cool. I ordered the Brahma cylinder because I'm doing a project where I'm forcing an unusual cylinder to work on my Seagull jimmy-proof rim deadbolt. Rim jimmy-proof lock. And, you know, I've done it with cylinders that aren't meant to go on there, but none of them are a Brahma. Plus, you give your Brahma key to somebody, I would think you're pretty convinced that they're not going to go copy it anywhere. Not that I'm aware of, and I don't make a living as a locksmith, but I've never heard of someone being able to duplicate those keys in the United States. My guy in England, of course, can cut those keys for me because he is Brahma, or whatever that is. You know, meaning whatever the... I would doubt it's the same Brahma lock company since the late 18th century, but I don't know that. So let's take some dimensional properties. First of all, it's a heavy aluminum plate, 4-inch tall, 1 5/8 wide, and they mention that it's 1/4 inch thick. It appears to be at least that. Now they're talking about the cylinder recess. Thickness of the plate itself is 1/2 inch, and that'll get you to a 1/4 inch recess for the head, so you know how much room you have in there. Your cylinder is going to sit quite flush. I suppose you would want to be mindful to make sure that your key is still going to work, you know, with it being recessed slightly. You could install a wave washer underneath there to build it out a little bit if you wanted to have it padded out. The ID of the hole for the cylinder itself, 1.181, 1.181. An ID on the exterior side for the cylinder head is going to be 1.42, 1.42. They are saying that you've got 3/16 pop rivets. You're going to want to make sure that you've got a pop rivet gun for that. You drill your hole. That goes into your gun. This goes into your hole. You pull on it real good and strong, and it clicks and breaks it off, and it'll be quite secure. Obviously, the problem is pop rivets are removed easily with a drill bit. So, and there's nothing special about this material. It's just going to be aluminum. So you could drill them. You might want to consider, you know, some alternative fasteners if you're really trying to go to the nth degree. You might want to look at something like that. Maybe a Torx type screw, or maybe a one-way type screw, you know, what they call a snake eyes type drive as well. Torx is pretty common for exterior applications. If you've got an application where you think you might have some tampering, this will certainly help. It's inexpensive. It's not hard to install. You can then potentially upgrade a Mortise Cylinder installation with a cash nut ring. There's a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow you to review. It's really a cut sheet. Shows you this item, but it does have dimensional properties, including those that I've not covered in terms of the locations of the screw holes. And it does then show you the Mortise Cylinder ring nut. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Paramount products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I am personally partial to Paramount, and it's not because they have necessarily a unique product line. They do have some stuff that's fairly unique. That is unique, in fact. Not fairly, it is. I don't know where else to buy the stuff. But you can buy, but their primary line is going to be door closers, lock sets, exit devices, hinges. Now, you can buy imported material like that from a lot of different people. What you can't get from a lot of different people is the level of customer service that we routinely get from them every single time. That's where they earn the business. Their door closer may or may not be better than the next person's. It'll probably be at least on par. But what you will get beyond all that other stuff is people that will call you back, and they'll call you twice, and that's appreciated. If you have any questions on that Paramount 5510 AL cylinder guard or any other Paramount product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.